Croaking at My Window by Sho Utajima. I don't feel comfortable in the woods nowadays. I don't trust the dancing shadowing of trees or the shifting darkness in the black water of a pond to be just my imagination anymore. It wasn't always this way. In my early teens, you could barely contain me indoors. Most of my youth was spent exploring the trails and the creeks of my home. My phobia started when I was 14 and visiting my aunt in Georgia. She lived in an old trailer deep in the woods. Most of her free time was spent tending to her bedridden husband. She made a living doing odd jobs for the local churches, cleaning and things of that nature. By night, she would sit by his bedside and read to him out of the Bible by candlelight, while I huddled in front of a small TV on the other side of the trailer trying to find something to watch on one of the two channels. I hated nights there. During the day I was free to roam amongst the oaks and explore the various small ponds and fishing holes that dotted the property out by moonlight. It was on my last day that I discovered the pond. Its dark water is still as black as glass in the sunlight. It was the furthest I had been from the house so far, and something about this place made me feel nervous, even in the harsh light of the sun. The flora around the dark pool was wilted and dried despite being so near a water source with full sun. Even the leaves of the trees had a sickly cast to them. It was deafeningly silent here as well, while moments ago the woods had been alive with crickets. The silence and unnatural stillness of the water unnerved me. There was no sign of life here at all. No warning chirps of birds or rustle of grasshoppers in the reeds, and not a single snake charmer skimming the surface of the water. The absence was overwhelming. I had to do something before it consumed me. I searched around my feet and scooped up a baseball-sized rock and hurled it out into the middle of the water. The surface shattered like a window pane. The sudden noise so loud that, after that unnatural silence, my heart had skipped a beat. I stared into the rippling waters until the pool had completely ceased its quaking. Just as I was about to leave was when I saw it. A shadow was rising under the water. Whatever it was bigger than me. It hovered just below the surface. I could feel eyes on me. What could it be? My mind raced. What kind of fish had such a horrible silhouette? I stood frozen in place, my heart beating in my throat. It began to move towards me, and I finally found my legs. I broke and ran like a gazelle with the slavering maw of a hungry lion snapping inches at its back, not stopping until I was safely locked inside my aunt's trailer. That night it was hot and humid, and we were forced to sleep with the windows open and the fans on. We didn't have the luxury of a working AC unit. I couldn't sleep. I lay wide awake on the dirty old mattress in the guest room, staring out at the window, idly watching the blinking of fireflies and putting story to the opera of crickets. It was because I was making a game of crickets that I was aware when they all abruptly ceased. I sprang up and looked out my window. I expected to see a hideous monster lumbering from the dark, but instead found only moonlight. The last of the fireflies retreating to the forest. That's when I heard the noise. Slow, wet thuds. Like some large animal taking slow and unsteady steps. I hid under the bed. The unremitting noise grew loud as whatever it was grew near to my window. I was sure the creature I had disturbed had come in search of me. The rhythm hastened. It could smell me, I thought, or hear my heart drumming against my ribcage. I wanted to flee or call out for my aunt, but I was frozen. Thump, thump, thump. It stopped. Whatever it was, it had stopped right outside my window. The room filled with a horrible dank odor, like the wet rot of decaying fish and tree stumps from the bottom of a drying pond. A new noise came to torment my ears. Something was tapping just below my windowsill, and I began to hear what sounded like the croak of a frog, as if a frog was trying to force human words. The croaking at my window grew louder still, then abruptly stopped, and I finally understood the words. It had said my name. My panic reached a fevered pitch, and I must have fainted because when I came to, the sun was illuminating the dust of the guest room floor. I went to the window to investigate. It must have stormed suddenly in the night after I had passed out, because the ground was wet and any footprints, if they had been there, were gone. Something did catch my eye, though. Resting on the ground was the rock I had thrown in the pond. That was the last time I ever spent a night at my aunt's, and when I quit wandering the forest alone.